The biggest goal is to think of the kinds of changes and benefits you want to make in the lives of
Hmm.
those you're serving. You want to start with a user and a problem, not start with, I built this shiny new thing. I love this shiny new thing I built. That's great. But the number one reason startups fail is because they create a product that the market doesn't necessarily need.
At that time, AI ML was booming, but it was not like there was no transformation like ChatGPT at by that time, right? So it was a very important vision at that time, and I must appreciate on that.
I love entrepreneurship ever since graduating college here in the US. After age 21, 22, I kind of made the decision that I wanted to start companies and be what they call a solopreneur, essentially just taking skills that I had learned growing up and taking skills I had learned in college and um, building companies out of them. And so from early adulthood, I started a music teaching company in Louisville, Kentucky, and taught people piano and guitar and voice, and really got a lot of experience working with people one on one.
If you talk about the wit and the human element, even that is there in many cases.
Yeah.
There are many mature AIs. I'll suggest you one. Go to air.ai, right?
Mm,
AIR.ai, and look at the demo at the home screen, right?
mm,
You will be amazed. It's an outbound call by the AI agent, and it you won't be able to recognize that whether it's a outbound call by an agent or a human being, right?
wow.
It
Yeah.
is that much mature. The kind of
Mm.
human element they have added, that is amazing. Hello everyone, my name is Ali. I'm the CEO of Al-Burraq Technologies, and today we have another tech star with us, Jared Lafitte. He has worked with us as well, so we know each other very well. Hello, Jared. How are you?
Hey, doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for asking, and thank you so much for joining for the podcast as well. I would like you to introduce yourself so that our audience can connect with you. I know you very well, but our audience needs to know what you have done and what was your career path, and how it looks like to be an entrepreneur.
Sure. Yeah, so my name is Jared Lafitte, and I love entrepreneurship ever since graduating college here in the US. After age 21, 22, I kind of made the decision that I wanted to start companies and be what they call a solopreneur, essentially just taking skills that I had learned growing up and taking skills I had learned in college and um, building companies out of them. And so from early adulthood, I started a music teaching company in Louisville, Kentucky, and taught people piano and guitar and voice, and really got a lot of experience working with people one on one
Hmm.
and helping to build confidence, helping to get them from point A to point B and the different goals they had. And so, even though a lot of it was centered on music,
Hmm.
really what
Hmm.
a lot of students wanted was confidence and the ability
Yeah.
to set goals and
Hmm.
achieve them.
Hmm.
And then
Hmm.
toward the end of my 20s, I shifted into executive coaching. So, not working on music so much, but working with business leaders, executives, people who were operating much larger companies and in leadership positions where they needed leadership skills, confidence, speaking skills, the ability to inspire and motivate their teams. And so I studied that art and science as well. And it's definitely both an art and science. And then around 2016, 2017, about 7 years ago, I realized after doing a lot of executive coaching work that many companies struggled with having a comprehensive view of employee sentiment, how employees
Hmm.
felt,
Hmm.
how customers felt, taking in feedback and taking the right actions to serve their employees and customers based on feedback.
Right.
And I
Right.
realized, well, at this point in time, AI was starting to become more popular 2016,
Hmm.
2017. And I thought, what if there were a way to work with an AI or ML model to take in large volumes of employee feedback and then process that data, analyze that data, and come up with consultative recommendations, much like what I was doing in the coaching process. And to give you an example, I sat down with an executive team at one point, and one of the leaders of the company said to the CEO of the company, I have felt these feelings for many years, and I haven't been able to share them with the team for fear of being reprimanded or fear that I would lose my job by being honest. And I thought there needs to be a way for companies to take in data anonymously and often from employees, and then use the insights from that data in an unbiased way to drive good decision making, thereby helping attrition, thereby stimulating retention and engagement. And I thought, well, let me go ahead and sit down and work with a team to help build this out, this process of AI doing that work and not just a consultant doing that work. And so that's of course how you and I met, was coming together to build uh, um, a complex of technologies called Mandy AI, which is named after my
Hmm.
wife, and use that
Hmm.
then to uh, allow companies to have a fast, efficient way to, one, take in feedback from people, but then
Right,
two,
right,
categorize it, turn it into a searchable database, and then have AI generated reporting to help them take the actions they need to take. And so what I tell people often is that we're not so much in the pure software space as we are in the consulting space, but using AI to take in data and help make consultative decisions that would otherwise cost hundreds of thousands of dollars a year for companies to hire a consultant to do. And so that's our passion. That's my journey, and that's how, of course, you and I have met, as you and your
right,
team have
right.
done a wonderful job building this.
Right, right. That makes a lot of sense. But there was one important thing in your career, that was the shift from music to executive coaching, and then from executive coaching to tech, right? So how was that shift? Because it is not easy for a non-tech person to come up with something like that and then build a solution in tech. So how was that transformation, and why it was there? If I ask you that what was forcing you toward going into tech, so how would you answer that?
Right. That's a very good point. Coming from the music world, and
Hmm.
I did a lot of writing growing up as well. Music and writing are not inherently technological.
Yeah. Hmm.
Certainly not at the level of training AI and ML models. So I shifted from music into executive coaching because I had a client in Louisville who was very much interested. He originally came for voice lessons. He wanted to learn how to sing, but he was very interested in public speaking. And so he said, I'd rather focus on posture and breathing and expression for the sake of public speaking, not just for the sake of singing. And so we worked on that. And that's what got me started in executive coaching. But then in the process of doing executive coaching, Ali, what happened is I was dealing with a lot of data, a lot of reporting, past, I guess you could say past surveys, hundreds of thousands of words of data. And I realized you manually read all of this content, you start to sense patterns. and and I thought, well, that's what AI and ML is for taking on the work of reading through an immense amount of data and drawing a conclusion. A human being, if you have to read 10,000 words, you're going to get tired. Your bias is going to kick in. You're going to not look at the right things. You're going to look at outliers. And so AI and ML helps correct that when it comes to verbal sentiment analysis or natural language processing. It's able to read something at vast multiples of what a human being can do, but then also draw meaningful conclusions about what to do with that data. And so that concept, even though I didn't know programming yet, that concept intrigued me. And then I had a business partner who was part of the company early on sent me a message, and he said, um, maybe there's a way to build out some kind of AI or ML program that can help with engagement and retention. And as soon as that message came through, on top of all this work I had been doing, analyzing all of this data manually, I thought, okay, it's time to harness AI and ML. I don't know it yet. In 2017, I didn't know it, but I'm going to figure it out, and we're going to work with some teams and get things going. So that's kind of how the transition from music to executive coaching, but then executive coaching into technology came about.
Right, right. That makes sense. And that was an important transformation as well. And it was very much, I would say, before time. Because at that time AI ML was booming, but it was not like there was no transformation like ChatGPT at by that time, right? So it was a very important vision at that time, and I must appreciate on that. So from here we'll move next, and let me ask you that how do you see the future, uh, considering AI ML transformations and how the technological advancements are going on right now?
Absolutely. I think we have different categories of AI and
Hmm,
ML.
hmm,
And
hmm,
just for viewers who may not be as privy to it, when we talk about AI, artificial intelligence, um, that artificial intelligence has much more to do with drawing conclusions, making predictions, making inferences, essentially thinking like a human being would think. Whereas machine learning is kind of the other side of the coin of artificial intelligence, where machine learning can find patterns, it can take in an immense amount of data and find meaning in the data, but it's not going to behave as AI would in terms of making predictions or drawing conclusions or giving guidance or recommendations to the client. So that's kind of a difference between AI and ML. But for both of them, I think that what we're seeing already is we have AI and ML in terms of verbal processing, the ability to take in language in multiple languages, and then it's AI and ML is just getting better and better and better at interpreting language and then thinking about words and creating sentences and phrases much like a human being would. And so I think what we're going to start to see in the next year, 2 years, certainly in the next 5 years, is AI and ML not only being able to generate prompts that are 1,000, 2,000 words long, but I think you're going to start to see AI and ML programs that can generate entire employee handbooks, entire books, entire film scripts, entire lines, dense software. I think AI is not, it can't quite think with the level of, let's say, inspiration or wit that a human being would have. Like, you're never going to see an
hmm,
AI
hmm,
become
hmm.
like William Shakespeare, or but you will see AI become more sophisticated to develop longer amounts
Yeah,
of text.
yeah.
And on the visual, so you have the verbal side
Hmm,
and then
hmm.
the visual side. um
I think most of the things which you have told, like writing a script and reading all the stuff, generating handbooks for the employees, etc. So these are the things which AI is already doing. So I think
right.
that stage is there. That most
Yeah.
of the things you are mentioning that they will be able to do it. Those things are already there. And if
Mhm.
you talk about the wit and the human element, even that is there in many cases.
Yeah.
There are many mature AIs. I'll suggest you one. Go to air.ai, right?
Mm.
AIR.ai, and look at the demo at the home screen, right?
Mhm.
You will be amazed. It's an outbound call by the AI agent, and
Mhm.
it you won't be able to recognize that whether it's a outbound call by an agent or a human being, right?
Wow.
It
Yeah.
is that much mature. the kind of human element they have added, that is amazing. And
Mm,
that is pretty much awesome work. So I think we are there, where the AI is transforming all the industries heavily, and it is going to
mhm.
impact a lot. In the near future, I think your socioeconomic values are going to be changed. So if you are able to grab some data, if you're able to grab some customers right now, uh, you have 1 to 2 years left, right? For that
Right.
kind of stuff, because if you have the data, you'll live in the future. If you do not
Mm,
have the data, then you're going to be irrelevant for that. So that
yeah.
is my assumption. That is my vision. Maybe it goes wrong, but I think we are pretty much close to that thing.
Yeah, yeah, I think you're right. And when you think of what AI does,
Hmm.
it's starting to take the place of a lot of tasks that we would
Yeah.
normally ask other people to do. So, to your point, whether that's creating phone calls, becoming a customer service agent, interpreting data, helping us draw conclusions, I think we're going to see people start to depend on AI more and more for write this for me, build this video for me, generate this text message for me, develop this training program for me. When it comes to writing and content development on the verbal or the visual side, people are going to start depending on AI more and more to do this. And to your point, it's going to be so much less expensive than hiring someone to do it. So what I always tell people, yeah, AI won't take your job, but someone who knows how to use AI will probably take your job. So you need to get um, conversant with the different technologies out there, whether that's OpenAI, whether that's Gemini, whether that's Bard. Um, these are going to
I
become,
call them AI enabled workforce. I think
yeah,
that when I say that your socioeconomic values are going to be changed, that by that I mean that your job natures will be changed. By that I
right,
mean your crimes will be changed. By that I mean your operations in the society will be changed, because everybody else is going to use AI in some other manner, and which will be very unique, right? So there will be new jobs, there will be new skill sets, there will be new challenges, there will be new solutions for that. And the jobs which are going to be created, those jobs are going to be in those new values. So that is what I believe about future.
right, yeah, and here's a nice example of that.
Hmm.
So I've been learning Python coding over the last year
Yeah.
because of ChatGPT. So I've been using AI tutorials and AI insights from Colab, from ChatGPT, from Replit. These chat mechanisms that are AI powered have taught me how to do Python programming in the span of a couple months that would have taken me probably 3 or 4 years without AI. So, AI is teaching people how to build AI, and we're going to see more and more of that. And we have two small children, and even with our two children, I'm kind of showing them a little bit of what I'm doing because I want
Hmm.
them to start thinking, AI is
Yeah.
part of my life. I don't want them to be afraid of AI. Being afraid
Yeah.
of AI is like being afraid of electricity. Uh, you know, of all the inventions in the world's history, the wheel, the
Yeah.
printing press,
Hmm.
I think that electricity is the most revolutionary
Yeah.
invention the world has ever
Hmm.
seen. But I think AI is going to be pretty close when it
Yeah,
comes
I
to
agree.
overall impact on the world's
Yeah,
history, thousands and
either
thousands of.
either pretty close, or it will bypass electricity as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I
Yeah.
mean, and you look at you look at Sora
Hmm.
from OpenAI, and you see people typing in a prompt and
Hmm.
having the ability to have a video generated, a 30
Yeah.
second or minute long video from a
Yeah.
prompt.
Yeah.
That's now. So by 2026,
That
2029,
that was 6 months ago. So
Yeah.
I did a video around 6 to 7 months ago, and in
Hmm.
that video I created a short clip. I created the whole storyline from ChatGPT, and then I
Hmm.
created a short clip based on that storyline from the other tools. So that was 6 months or 1 year ago thing. So
Uh,
now things are getting pretty much more mature, and things are going to be in that direction. So
right.
this discussion is going to be everlasting, right? So let's move forward, and let's talk about the team building and remote work, right? What do you think about remote work, and how do you build your teams? What do you think are the most important parts in while you are building your teams?
Well, yeah, it is so fascinating how COVID kind of exacerbated a debate that was already raging, which is, can we build teams and can we build companies when we're not physically in the same location? People were already thinking about this, debating this, wondering this. And then, of course, COVID happened and obliterated everything and kind of forced us to be remote for a while. And now there's this really raging debate on what builds teams better. And I think, Ali, I think part of it depends on the industry you're in. Obviously, tech is something that I've been in for 7, 8 years now. And so that's my world. In the tech space, I believe that remote work is not only good, but I believe it's necessary. I think that, um, for example, you and I are collaborating, and you are in, is it Pakistan?
I'm in Pakistan.
Okay. So I'm in Denver, Colorado. You are in what city in Pakistan?
Lahore.
Lahore. Okay, yes, Lahore. So you and I are what, 10,000 miles away from each other?
Yeah,
8,000 miles away?
yeah, yeah.
But here we are, we've collaborated, we're seeing each other, and we're
Hmm.
able to build something like we have over these years, and it
Yeah.
has worked seamlessly. So I think that, if you're in an industry that requires you to be physically close with another person, sure, it's good to be in the office, but if you don't have to be physically in the same space, then I think remote work should be embraced. And I think that it leads to a lot of efficiencies. If you're paying for office space, paying for rent, paying for fuel to get to and from the office, I know some people who live in New York City where they commute 2.5 hours each way to work. 2.5 hours, 5 hours of their day is in the car or a train. And so, for us, we're able to operate. We have people all across the country here in the U.S. from Andy, and then of
Hmm.
course we have your team, etc. And we're able to just kind of seamlessly move around and operate. And so I think it's
Right.
it's good. It should be embraced.
Yeah.
And I think that what makes a company work and what makes a team work is not so much being physically in the same space as it is having a very clear set of objectives, a very clear set of processes, a very clear set of roles and responsibilities, and then a consistent communication between the team members around these items. So I've been in situations, as an executive coach, where I'll be working with the team and they're physically in the same place, but they have no clear responsibilities, no clear roles, no clear project management, no clear team connection. So even though they're physically in the same place, they are wasting money. They're not moving forward. They're inefficient. But then I've also been part of teams where they've never met each other in person before, but they are light years beyond some of those teams that are in the same place
Right. Right.
because
Right.
have a clear sense of responsibilities. They have a clear
Hmm.
sense of objectives. So I think it has much more to do with the design of the company, the goals of the company,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
what you're doing, than it does being physically in the same place.
That makes a lot of sense, and I agree with that. That with the tech, you don't need to be there, and the access to talent has been made so much easy that it overcomes all other stuff.
Right.
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 Okay. So, in the end, I would like you to give some advice to the aspiring entrepreneurs who are starting their new businesses. What do you think are the most important values when they are starting something new?
Sure. Um, I think the biggest goal is to think of the kinds of changes and benefits you want to make in the lives of
Hmm.
those you're serving. You want to start with a user and a problem, not start with, I built this shiny new thing. I love this shiny new thing I built. That's great. But the number one reason startups fail is because they create a product that the market doesn't necessarily need. So you don't want to start with your product so much as you want to start with your ideal customer and what kinds of issues or problems they need fixed. And so you want to get passionate about problem solving more than you want to get passionate about product making. Does that make sense? More passionate about the problem than about the product, because if you get
Yeah.
passionate about the problem you're solving, the product will come along.
Right,
Second
right.
thing
I
is
call that, you need to fall in love with the problem, not with the solution.
exactly right, because yeah, then you'll realize, hey, the market
Yeah.
hasn't developed a solution for this yet. So, like in our
Mm-hmm.
case with Andy, and what we're trying to build more and more
Mm.
is there is not a way for companies to get consultant level advice
Right.
and get consistent, large scale, easy feedback from employees and customers at a very inexpensive price to get that advice, that consultant level advice. And so they're either paying way too much for consulting firms to give them insights and information, or they're just depending on, very rudimentary softwares to try to get people to give feedback, but people don't want to give feedback. And so that's a problem. And so we are trying to come in the middle and give people consultant level insights, but at the price that's closer to a SaaS. um, you know Another thing.
What are the pricings you're charging right now?
Oh, I mean, we try to stay within either 4 to 5 figures.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
if it's a smaller project, a smaller operation, something that is not as in depth, it'll be less than 10,000 US dollars.
Yeah. Yeah.
For a larger scale, something that's more at the corporate, I'd say like Fortune 500 corporate level, where there's more people involved, there's more processes involved, there's more reporting involved. That's going to be somewhere in the 5 figures. But again, to the point from earlier, is we are still able to significantly undercut the cost that you might pay a large consulting firm, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, which is just way too much to get the insights that you need. And because of technology, it takes away a lot of the cost of travel and paying for a hotel for a consultant and stuff like that. But Ali, one other bit of advice for the young entrepreneur who's building their company is focus on the needs you're creating. But then once you start building, experiment, try, don't get discouraged. Keep trying, keep experimenting, keep moving along. Now that we have AI to help us, you're not going to have to spend as much as before on building software, on trying and testing this thing or that thing. And so try to keep your costs as low as you can, because that's the second reason startups fail, is because they run out of money. So if you can just try again, try again, try again, try different things, don't give up too soon, but then keep your costs low, then that's going to give you a lot of freedom to go far. And the team you work with is also very important. Um, you might have a friendship with someone, you might have a good relationship with someone, but that doesn't always mean that they're going to be the best person to come alongside you to build a product. So you want to think very carefully about who you're building the product with. Um, the way that you work together. You want to you know just kind of slowly ease into that, because you're only going to go as far as your relationships. A good product will take you pretty far, but what's really going to drive your business forward is the relationships you build, both internally with your team and then externally with your customers and with your network. And so relationship building and the ability to connect with people is going to as important or more important than just building a great product. And then I'd say the last thing, very quickly, is just because someone has done it before doesn't mean they did it best. So, one thing I always tell younger entrepreneurs is that Google was not the first search engine on the market. It was not the 10th search engine on the market. I believe it was about the 27th or something search engine on the market. There was Alta Vista, there was Ask Jeeves, there was Netscape. You had a lot of search engines before Google, but Google figured out a way to make what they offered simpler, easier, more marketable, etc. So just because there are competitors, don't let that scare you. Think, how can I do it better than they can? That's really what you need to. So
Right,
that's just
right,
some
right.
advice
That
there.
has pretty much summarized as well. And I hope the people who are watching, they will learn a lot from you. Thank you so much, Jared. It was amazing talking to you, and I hope people have also learned from.
Thank you so much, Ali. It's been amazing working with you. Thank you for all of the effort that you and the Al-Burraq team have made into Mandy. We're very grateful for you.
Thank you so much. And for the audience, keep watching so that we can keep bringing more tech stars to your screen.